Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores coming with the second video today. There will be some days where I double upload just because free agency is so busy, the draft is so busy. So up to free agency, through free agency, and up to the draft, there will be some days where I double upload because there's so much stuff to do and so much stuff to talk about. I wanted to talk about Brandon Sheriff today, but I may end up putting that video out tomorrow. But earlier today I already did the Trey Boston interest video, and also Rivera looking for a speedy receiver, whether it be through free agency and or draft. But right now I want to update y'all on the draft prospects that we're targeting, that they've had virtual meetings with, that we're connected to and everything like that. I already did part 1 last week. Here is part 2 with some additional guys, and you'll see obviously who's the new guys because there'll be a slightly lighter shade than the darker shades for the guys we already discussed in the first video. And that's how it's gonna basically go every week. If there's enough prospects, I will update the list and put out a video for it. Without further ado, let's get it. Alright, so first of all, y'all already know, if you saw the first video, how I color coded the chart so that you know what projected round they may go in. The players are in order of the Draft Network's big board. I just use theirs as just a general reference. I trust a lot of their draft analysts and film watchers, so I'm gonna use their big board when I update these lists. And like I explained in the first video, they are color coordinated based on the rounds that they're projected to go in. I went and researched several drafts, and generally round 3 are picks 65 through the hundreds, round 4 the hundreds through the 140s, round 5 140s through the 170s, and so on and so forth. Undrafted free agents are basically in the 260s and beyond because the draft stops after pick 250 something any given draft. And then also I had to update this because now that I added more people to the list that we virtually met with or are interested in through reports, wide receiver is number 1 with 21, DB including corner and safety are 19, tight end 10. Then you have defensive line is 9. Then offensive line including guard and tackle 6. Running back 3 now. Quarterback 2. Linebacker 2. And then also, very important, I added this. We didn't have this the last video. I wanted to point out who was the highest projected pick of each position. So like the highest quarterback, 6th overall, Justin Fields. The highest receiver, 14th overall, Devonta Smith, and so on and so forth. So this kind of gives you a good idea of what position they may feel like may be the most necessary. Because guard, the highest projected pick they've looked at for guard and running back are in the 130s. So they clearly don't prioritize that position, or they feel like they can handle that in free agency or whatever. But when it comes to the draft, they're not really looking for a guard high up, which means they don't feel like that's a big need. And with corner and safety, they're not necessarily looking at anybody high, but they have interviewed a lot of guys, and I'm taking that as there's a lot of guys that may be interested in, and they may not necessarily go and get one in the 1st or 2nd round, but they want to meet with a lot of them so that they can strategize. I mean, if they like a guy in the 6th round as much as they potentially like a guy in the 3rd round, you might as well go another position in the 3rd round and get your DB in the 6th round. So they've met with a lot of DBs, a lot of receivers, and I'm expecting us to go and grab these positions deeper into the draft because they're going to plan around these positions. Again, there's a receiver that they like in the 7th round as much as they like in the 4th, or a guy in the 4th that they like as much in the 1st or 2nd, they'll just wait till that later round to snag them and grab another position where it's harder to find top talent in. Because this is a very deep receiver draft. This is a pretty deep defensive back draft, so I'm not very surprised. There's also a very deep linebacker draft, so I'm surprised that they haven't met with a lot of them. But the highest one that they've met with, we're going to talk about him, Zaven Collins, 24th overall projection. They've met with him multiple times, I believe 8. And then also, just if you're curious, this is what I feel like our biggest needs are, and this is in order. So if anybody were curious exactly how I feel about this team, this is where I stand. You know, I'm team trade up for quarterback. So, and I think linebackers huge. If we can make Cole Holcomb and Kevin Pierre-Louis the 2nd and 3rd best linebackers on our linebacker core, we can literally have one of the best defenses in the NFL, arguably the best, especially if you get a rangy free safety on top of that. And then corner, I feel like, is a pretty high need just because Ronald Darby's solid, but he's not a lockdown corner. So ideally, Ronald Darby could be our corner 2, which is like great. And then Kendall Fuller could move back into the slot, and then we're able to find our number 1 freakishly athletic lockdown corner on an island guy in this draft, maybe in the second round. My boy Ifitu Melifonwu, you know what I'm saying? Try to get him in the second if we can. But here's the list. As you can see, the lighter shades of the new guys. Zaven Collins, linebacker out of Tulsa, virtual meeting, multiple. It's been reported that they virtually met with him 8 times. So if I had to bet, if we're not trading up for quarterback, you can pretty much pencil in Zaven Collins. They also met with Brevin Jordan once, tight end out of Miami. That's good. I like Brevin Jordan, but he may potentially go in the first round, so I don't know. They also met with Tevin Jenkins recently, offensive tackle from Oklahoma State, multiple times. So, I mean, that may be a good clue as to who we may take in the second round. Maybe linebacker in the first if we don't trade up for quarterback, tackle in the second, and then according to this, tight end or corner in the third. Asante Samuel, they've met with multiple times. Tommy Tremble, the tight end, they've met with multiple times. So we'll see. But going back in order, you also have Elijah Molden, cornerback from Washington. They met with him once virtually. My boy Hamza Nasirildeen, please try to snag him. He makes it to the third round. I mean, unless we took Trey Boston, unless we got Marcus Williams or somebody like that, I think Hamza Nasirildeen is a no-brainer. I mean, you may even need to take him in the second round. We'll see, because he's at the very top of the third round, and we have the 19th pick every round, so it's looking ugly for us. But we have 2 third-round picks, so we do have 1 pick that's sooner than that. But that's the safety out of Florida State. I mean, literally Derwin James type of guy, freakishly athletic. More of a free safety where Derwin James is closer to linebacker, but they're both really elite athletic profile strong safeties, and if you need Hamza Nasirildeen to be your rangy free safety, he can do that. It's just all gonna be mental, just getting them up to par mentally, and you have your guy freak athlete on the back end. Then you also have James Wiggins, safety from Cincinnati, of course, like I just said earlier. Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback from Florida State, multiple meetings. You have Marlon T, defensive lineman from USC. Joshua Bledsoe, safety from Missouri. And as you'll notice, like, this most recent wave of guys have been a lot of safeties and quite a few receivers, but you'll see that as we scroll further down. Tommy Tremble isn't a new meeting, but I did have to update the fact that it was multiple, and I wanted to point out the fact that they somehow met with them privately also has been reported, so virtually and private. So there seems to be strong interest with Tommy Tremble. You don't waste your time meeting somebody face to face during a pandemic if you're not seriously interested in them. Then they also virtually met with my boy, safety Richard LeCounte from Georgia. I'm personally not very high on him, but he could be exactly what we need. I'm not going to lie. If they're able to work with him and groom him in this defense, he could be something serious. But I support all my Georgia guys now. Then Joe Tyron, edge from Washington, also updated. Kylan Hill, running back from Mississippi State. And I definitely believe there's no real point to spending a high draft pick on a running back, especially with us. I mean, we have Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick, and then we can work from there. If you can find a guy maybe really late in the draft, undrafted free agent. James Robinson was an undrafted free agent. He was arguably the best rookie running back in the NFL, one of the top running backs in general in the NFL. I just don't see the point in taking guys even this high. I know the 4th round isn't necessarily that high, but if you can get a really good receiver or a decent running back, I'm taking a really good receiver. Also, Anthony Schwartz, wide receiver out of Auburn, met multiple times, so look for this to be maybe the primary target in the 4th round. Again, Zaven Collins in the 1st, Tevin Jenkins in the 2nd, Asante Samuel or Tommy Tremble in the 3rd, and Anthony Schwartz in the 4th. You know what I'm saying? That's linebacker, offensive tackle, cornerback or tight end, and wide receiver. Also, Chris Evans, running back from Michigan. Trey Norwood, cornerback from Oklahoma. Running back Puka Williams from Kansas. I know a lot of y'all like him. Tyree Gillespie, safety from Missouri, another safety. DeMar Hamlin, safety from Pittsburgh, another safety. And then we're in the undrafted free agent range, at least projection-wise. You never know. I mean, a lot of these guys may go during the draft, and some guys projected to go during the draft may go undrafted. There's no for sure way of knowing ahead of time. Once you get like past the 3rd round, it's just who the team likes a lot. It's not even necessarily if they're the best guy available a lot of the times. I like best player available strategy, but once you start getting to these later rounds, kind of like with Cam Curl, a lot of people, including me, didn't think he would be that good. But the burgundy and gold saw it in him, and then look what happens. So like from really the 4th round all the way to these undrafted free agent guys is based on all the guys you like. And that's why this list is important, because we're more likely to take a guy from this list than just some random guy not on this list. Like, far more likely. Because you don't want to get a guy, you didn't do any homework on him. You don't know what he is like off the field. You don't know his leadership qualities, his work ethic, and things like that. So definitely reference this as far as if you want to do film sessions on people, if you want to watch people's tape in great detail. This is a good list to reference because these are guys that we'll more than likely take. So you're not just wasting your time watching film on guys that we may not even be considering at all as a team. Then you have Sean Davis, another safety from Florida. Christian Uphoff, another safety from Illinois State. Carson Green, offensive tackle from Texas A&M. Wyatt Hubert, edge from Kansas State. Jacoby Stevens, another safety from LSU. Mark Webb, another safety from Georgia. Yes, sir. Peyton Ramsey, quarterback from Northwestern. That's interesting. May take a quarterback as an undrafted free agent or maybe in the 7th round if he's available. You know what I'm saying? They met with him. There's interest there. I haven't done a film session on him, so I don't know much about him, but just, you know, that's a name to watch. For them to only be interested in potentially 2 quarterbacks so far through reports, whether it be virtual meeting or reports, just Justin Fields and Peyton Ramsey, that might mean something. And then Quinn M., offensive guard from Wisconsin, Whitewater. He wasn't even on the Draft Network's big board. I mean, he's all the way out there, but they met with him twice. So if there was a guy I had to put my money on, if I had to pick one guy of this entire list that I'm almost sure we're going to end up picking up one way or another through the draft or as an undrafted free agent, is this guy. He's not on a lot of teams' radars. We met with them not only once, but twice. And again, he's not like a hot commodity apparently, so we don't even have to necessarily worry about him going sometime in the draft, and they may act fast after the draft to go ahead and sign him. So you could pretty much almost pencil in Quinn M right here, and I'll figure out how to pronounce his name soon enough. But yeah, man, that's the list right there. Again, I'm gonna update this if there's enough prospects every week, because if we just only meet with one more guy from here to next Monday, I won't do an update. I'll just save it for the week after that. But if we virtually meet with, or there's reports buzzing around that we're interested in like maybe 5 or more guys, I will do another update. And I'm still working on a way to get y'all this PDF file, so definitely be on the lookout for that so that y'all can be able to access this whenever you want to, whenever you need to. I don't want to just hold this information for myself, so I definitely want to hook y'all up and allow y'all to use this. I had fun putting this together, and I just feel like, what's the point of me just holding it for myself? I just want Washington Nation, the Burgundy and Gold Nation, to be a smarter, more resourceful nation as a whole. I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I want us all to be a better fan base, so I'm trying to figure out a way to give y'all access to this PDF file whenever you need it. If I find a way to just like plug it in as an attachment in the description of this video, I'll do that. So be on the lookout for that. And like I said, I will be updating this accordingly. It will be on a weekly basis if we meet with enough new guys every week, or there are reports that we're attached to more guys just like Justin Fields. And then as always, man, please like this video if you liked it. If you learned anything, please subscribe. If you haven't, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification every time I release a video like this one, every time I live stream, every time I release one of my 5 mock drafts, the trade back scenario when it's coming sometime this week, and every time I do one of my film sessions. I also need to get one of those done this week. And y'all already know I live stream every Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. and every Sunday, sometimes at 1 p.m., sometimes at 4 p.m. But you'll know a couple hours ahead before I stream anyway. I always schedule the stream, and y'all should get a notification if you hit that bell next to the subscription button when I do it. Also, of course, man, I appreciate all my supporters, everybody that pulls up to every video, every stream, leaves a like, shares the live streams and videos so that more people can join the Street Scores family. And as always, man, I appreciate everybody that donates, everybody that supports the channel in any way that they can. Big shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors whose names you see scrolling on the screen right now. Really appreciate all y'all. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.